Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by for another video. I appreciate that. We are over here at thedodo.com, and this article is a woman looking at a shelter's Facebook page sees her cat who's been missing for 2 years. It says, "He walked over and headbutted me and I just started crying." I thought this was a really neat story. It says, Jimmy the cat has always been mischievous. One of his favorite things to do was go outside and wander around nearby his house, until one day he didn't come back. Jimmy's parents never worried about him playing outside because he was a seasoned pro and he never went very far. He liked to hang out in the driveway, visit the neighbors for treats, and go on walks with his family and the dog. He occasionally liked to sneak into parked cars, though, open windows to hang out for a while before heading back to his house and meowing back to come back inside. And here's a picture. He used to go in and out every day, but he always came back, except for one night. Sue Solitsky, Jimmy's mom, told the Dodo. On September 13, 2014, when Jimmy was 13 years old, Solitsky's husband let Jimmy outside to play for a while. When it was time for him to come back inside, they called and called Jimmy's name and searched everywhere they could, but Jimmy never came back. Jimmy's family was absolutely devastated and put up missing cat flyers all around their neighborhood. Solitsky would call out for Jimmy every time she took the family dog for a walk, just in case he might be somewhere nearby. They didn't want to lose hope, but after a while the family assumed that Jimmy was probably never coming home. Two and a half years later, however, Zalitsky was browsing Facebook when she came across a post from the West Milford Animal Shelter about a stray who had been pulled off the streets, and he looked remarkably like Jimmy. Solitsky immediately commented on the post, trying to figure out if the lost cat was indeed her beloved Jimmy. After messaging back and forth with the shelter, the evidence kept piling up that Jimmy had finally been found. He was found approximately 10 miles from our home after the big March blizzard had brought into the West Milford Animal Shelter, Solitsky said. After some sharing of pictures and other physical attributes, I went to see him. Solitsky nervously gathered up a few things that she thought Jimmy might recognize and then headed to the shelter with her neighbor, who Jimmy also loved. The shelter staff welcomed them in and brought them to the back to see the missing cat, and as soon as Solitsky saw him, she knew immediately that it was Jimmy. Here's a picture of him headbutting her. As soon as we opened the cage, I asked him, "Jim, is that you, bud?" And he walked over and headbutted me and I just started crying, Solitsky said. Solitsky later brought her husband to see Jimmy too, and Jimmy recognized and greeted him just as lovingly. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that this was Jimmy, and that somehow he had finally found his way home. So I'll leave the link to this article in the description. So if you want to come over here and read this article again, you can. But it ends up saying, Jimmy is 15 years old now and so happy to be back home with his family. The family dog recognized him right away and welcomed him home. And the 2 new kittens the family adopted while Jimmy was away welcomed him just as much. Everyone is shocked that Jimmy was found, and family couldn't be happier that finally have him back in their lives. It says, "We are over the moon," Solitsky said. "It's the greatest story ever and almost too good to be true, but it is." So there you have it. That's going to be the story. It's just an awesome, awesome story that I wanted to share with you. That's why you can never give up hope. Even after 2 years, they were able to find their cat that they had for 13 years prior to that. So they lost 2 years with him, but he's back in their lives now, and that's such a happy story and a great ending. And it's good that he's home to live out the rest of his life back where he belongs. But But yeah, that's gonna be it. I just thought it was a really awesome story. You know, had a really happy ending. After 2 years, they're able to find their cat again, and that's awesome. I love stories like this. So I hope you enjoyed it too. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want. And thanks for watching yet another video. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day.